see if I can move this a little bit. All right, you're not going to be able to see the back corner here. You're not going to be able to see the back corner here, but we'll figure that out as we go. Okay, so I managed to make the full connect with the puzzle, and I've actually can't remember the last time that I made the full border connect on the first try, so I feel really pleased with that so far. So yeah, I'm just going to go through and pick some colors that kind of are speaking to me right now and start the puzzle. So I think I'm going to go with green. I think I'm in the green stage of my life, and hopefully green means go, green means growth, green means, you know, one of the last puzzles that I chose, I also did green as the first focus. So something about the green is speaking to me. Nonetheless, you might hear some noise in the background. That's just my dogs hanging out. So I have to give them S-U-P-P-E-R, and yes, I do have to spell it. I'll give them that in a little bit, but of course, you know, anyone else have dogs and they'll tell you that it's S-U-P-P-E-R time like 2 to 3 hours ahead of time. I appreciate, hang on. I appreciate their optimism that, you know, I do not know how to tell time, but actually I do. So, and actually personally, I do try and change up, you know, within about 30, 40 minutes of exactly when they eat, just so that they don't, you know, their lives are not ending if they don't eat at that specific time. Sorry. Oh my goodness. Okay. So there we go. Let's get back into the puzzle. So yeah, I think I'm going to like this puzzle. What was I talking about? School. Today I'm just going to try to focus, this puzzle I'm going to always try to focus on talking about school, because I do think it is that important, especially as I've been saying, you know, for a lot of the students going back to school now, unfortunately, they wouldn't have had that the socialization from high school, because they would have been. Oh my goodness, Tinky, noisy girl. They would have been homeschooled due to COVID. So I really wanted to take at least one puzzle video and kind of acknowledge what they must be feeling, because I'm sure there's some fear, I'm sure there's some trepidation, I'm sure there's a lot of emotions going on, and you know, they may, sometimes I think people are like, oh, that generation and blah blah. Okay, well, okay, but you know, you can't pigeonhole every single person. I was very fortunate to meet some younger people this summer, and I thought they were very mature and very kind and whatnot. So, you know, lucky for me. But nonetheless, you know what, and I think too, like, they deserve a chance to kind of be recognized that, hey, what you're about to do is really hard, because as I've been saying, I don't think that they were really afforded the correct steps. I don't really know what the word is. They weren't afforded they missed out. I really do feel that they missed out. And I just, you know, I have this platform that I'm trying to build to talk about mental health. So what better place to talk about that kind of stuff than here? So let me continue along then. What else? So St. Mary's, my first year, history major with, oh, well, let's talk about that. That was really neat. So I did do a commerce degree, oh my goodness, sorry. I did do a arts degree with a focus on the culture of World War II. That was the most eye-opening thing I think I could have ever done. Not only did I study it, But as well, I got to go overseas and actually stay at like the class. We got to go overseas and actually stay at camps and, you know, really kind of understand. We were afforded I think we were afforded the most opportunity to understand what happened without actually experiencing it, because no, I have no idea what it was to go through that. I could not articulate that at all for you. However, thankfully, due to my education, and I didn't actually like focus so much on the like the date, so like or the numbers, if you will. Not that they're not important, but I actually chose to focus more on, okay, so like from sun up to sundown, what happened? I've always been very analytical, and I actually love that about myself. But I think it's really important to know what happened so that you don't make the same mistakes again. Otherwise, I think you're doomed to repeat, the same, just the same problems over and over and over. Like if you're not learning, like what are you doing? So anyway, nonetheless, yeah, it was, wow, what an opportunity. Now, certainly I had to, fundraise or put up some of my own money and all that stuff to go overseas. And I understand some people maybe just don't have those types of resources and whatnot. And listen, if I could figure out a way for everyone to learn about the past, like truly, not just, in a textbook, but like actually authentic, how do you say that? Authentically, there we go, authentically experience it, because I was very fortunate. I got to touch bullet holes. I got to touch they actually, one camp that we stayed at, we were the first English speaking group to come through. And so they actually put us in cells. The cells were so thick. The door, oh my gosh, probably like a 2 or 3 foot door, like thick. That was such a time in history, like just, and I think that me experiencing that type of humanity, or really lack of humanity, because that's how I feel like, everyone dropped the ball. And I'm not here to blame anyone. I think that, that's already been dealt with through history. But yeah, gosh, what a time. Because to actually know the stories, the propaganda. I mean, World War II, that's what it was, eh? It was, how much propaganda can we do? And I'm not saying that to, gaslight anyone, I believe is the right term. But it's just so interesting, what has actually happened. Like what did not happen in a movie, but what actually happened to someone. I find that really hard to sit here as a human and know, and sorry, it's hard to know that happened to someone. Like, oh my gosh, that almost kills me. I don't know. I guess it's because I have had a good life, but I've also had times where I have had struggle and sadness and, fear, all that stuff. So I guess I relate better to people, who are hurting, I guess. I don't know. I don't want to. It's not fun, but I'm sure the people who are struggling are not having fun either. And I think that it's better to try and identify the people who are struggling so that we can work on helping them out. Because imagine one day if it was you struggling, and wouldn't you want the systems to already be in place to help you? Even if you don't give any credit to someone else's life now, well, what happens when someday the person struggling is you, or someone you care so deeply about that you would change your entire prescription for life? Like the whole way you think about life. Let me tell you, when it affects you or someone you care deeply about, you may change your I know I said prescription, I should have said perspective, but nonetheless, I think it still flies. Okay, so what else can I talk about? Oh, you want to know something at St. Mary's that I learned how to do real quick? Parallel park. I always managed to find parking. I lived far, so I always had to drive in. I could never take the bus. It just, back in that time, the bus schedule just wasn't conducive for where I lived. Nonetheless, but yeah, parallel parking. You're trying to get to class and you see a parking space. Now, you want to know what I used to drive? Geo Metro. Oh my gosh. And let me tell you, it's not the fight in the, what is it? It's not the size of the dog. It's the heart of the dog, or it's the size of the fight. I don't know. It's something like that. Nonetheless, yeah, a Geo Metro. So I could really park anywhere, and it was a good little car to have too. Being, you're, as I said, although you're in school and you want to be there, you're probably having some elements of stress and whatnot. This is a whole new ball game for you. So perhaps it was a bit nicer for me to have, a smaller vehicle that I could kind of literally just whip in and out of spots. But nonetheless, I remember parallel parking all the time, and run into class and whatnot. Now, one thing I did do, and it's too bad I didn't discuss it earlier because the point will be moot now, but I did what's called Frosh Week. Now, some of you may have a bad experience with Frosh Week, and for that I am very sorry, because I thankfully had a great experience. I really didn't know anyone who was going to be at school, like from my high school, but again, I didn't really have a lot of friends, so it's not a big deal. But I remember doing Frosh Week, and it was just so funny because the part that I really remember was just being out in the field. St. Mary's, known for the Huskies football team, of course. So being out in that field and literally just going around, and it felt like summer camp. It was just like, okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself. And like, I'm not making fun, but like, that's exactly what it was like. It was, tell us a little bit about yourself, blah, blah. And so it was kind of nice because then you'd see those people in your class, and if you guys like went out and did something fun, you could be like, oh, hey, I don't know, you were really fun the other night, when we all went out for supper or something. I don't know, but yeah, so that's what I really liked. And I think that it gives you a chance to kind of find your own people, because Frosh Week is only for the new freshmen, of course. And so what's nice about that is that like you're all in the same boat. So if you have questions that you're not sure of, like me, thinking they need to put their hand up to go to the washroom, like that was a pull. I don't know if that goes there or not. That was a place that like Frosh Week, that you could kind of interact with people like yourself and not feel so out of place, which I think is just such a great thing. Like, oh my gosh, what a great thing to be able to provide someone a space where they feel comfortable. And again, that just goes back to what I was saying earlier about how, you know, if you feel out of place, I don't see how you will thrive. I just don't. Versus having an environment that's conducive for you, you will soar. Like, you will soar. And so it's important to always be mindful of that, I think. Okay, let me take a breath here and figure out this. Okay, this screen's a little bit harder for some reason, but that's okay. I'm not worried about it. It's actually a really pretty green, to be honest. I get way down there. Oh, okay, way over here. All right. So a little bit off camera, but with the angles, I cannot do anything about that right now. So apologies. Just have to trust me. But as soon as I can move the board, I will. But I am making some nice connects, I can say that. But yeah, Frosh Week was really good, and the thing that I think was the thing that I think was the nicest about Frosh Week was, like I said, and I'm going to reiterate it, was being surrounded by people who were in the same boat as you. Instantly, that takes away some of that dread, if you will. So yeah, that certainly should not be overlooked, I don't think, in any aspect. That's not right. So immediately noticing, I like this puzzle, but I immediately noticed that some of the pieces are sneaky, and they make you think that they fit when they don't. So caution to you if you're doing a Eurograph puzzle, because I believe I've come across this in the past, but that's okay, because I know that I can do it, so I'll do it. Okay, boom, boom. Nope. Yep, nope. Okay, where do you go? You go somewhere there. Anyway, okay. Let's see. Now, I'm going to try and jump around a little bit, because I don't actually like the way that this conversation's going, just in terms of I feel like I'm being too quiet. So I'm going to open up my mind a little bit and just think of things that I liked in post-secondary. One thing I think that needs to be talked about is typically in post-secondary, now, times have changed, things have become way more pricey. So if you have to live at home, my dear, do not feel badly. You are working smarter, not harder. I lived on my own, and so I incurred debt, a lot of debt, because I did work while in school. However, I found it very hard to completely do everything. So work, go to school. Now listen, you do whatever course load you think you can handle. I did do a full course load. So I was doing 5 courses, which is the high. Well, I don't know if it's the highest, actually. I never knew anyone to do more. But it's at the time when I was going, it was standard that you did 5 for a full-time student. You would do 5 courses per semester. Now that course could stretch over 2 semesters, regardless. And I worked probably about 25 to 35 hours a week. And of course I went out, because you're at that age, and it's the thing to do, right? So now, when I say that I worked while in school, the only school that I could work at, the only school that I could not work at when I was in it was paramedic school. And that I felt, see, I was completely out of my element in that environment. I only have a background of Ocean's 11. So you can imagine me trying to learn the cell and, the body and like all of this stuff. Oh my goodness, it was so hard. I did it, but I knew that not only did I not go out while I was in school, plus I was older, kind of been there, done that. And a lot of my classmates went out quite a bit, which I was always very surprised at, because I don't know, I just thought like that education was one of my most expensive educations. I personally paid $20,000. Now I did take out a student loan, but I mean, it was the student's responsibility to figure out how to pay for the course. And so I just didn't feel that, taking out a loan of $20,000 just for tuition, I didn't really feel that I could go out and perform to the abilities as versus, personally going home and getting a good night rest and all of that good stuff. So to each their own. If you a ton of my classmates, as I said, went out, and a lot of them did better in school than I did. However, I think it's just about being mindful and true to yourself. So like, again, I knew that I'm not the strongest in science. So I knew I would have to have some major discipline. So when everyone else is going out and having fun Friday night, it didn't matter what night, like I did not go out. Actually, I did not participate in I did not participate in anything extracurricular, I don't think, to which after we all graduated, and I don't know why I was at this party, like, I mean, we're all working now at this point, to which I actually showed up at a party of my classmates, and one of them actually looked at me and said, "Oh my God, you actually are so much fun." And it was just so funny because I was like, yeah, I know, but we're not paying $20,000 right now to hang out together. So I can be a bit more, relaxed, if you will. I just always found that really funny because it's like, anyway, yeah, and it wasn't I don't know why I'm yelling. The comment wasn't said in a mean way. No, not at all. I think they were just, they probably had their own biases that they thought, and that's fine. Like, look, at least they admitted that they were wrong. So that's a plus. I usually never get that. But yeah, it was just so funny. Like, oh my God, you actually are fun. I was like, I know. Anyway, yeah. So long-winded, story. I guess I don't know if it was a story or comment. But just be mindful of. Yes, the parties are going to be fun. The parties are going to be so much fun. And I do think that you should take some opportunity to participate in, the stuff. But I do think that you have to be mindful that your priorities are correct. Because if you decided before you met certain people that, like, this is what you wanted to do, well, who are these people that have totally changed your way of thinking that, no, I'm not going to get up early and, go do, I don't know, one of the sports that I'm on a scholarship here. Like I do think if you don't pay attention, I do think you can end up in, a bit of trouble, where things go awry. So with said independence, I think comes said responsibility. So it's hard because if you are used to someone perhaps looking out for your best interest, i.e. your guardians, typically parents, but not everybody has parents. your guardian, then I don't know. I just think that, you know, it's like that slippery slope. It becomes very easy to, oh, well, I'm going to like stay up late even though I have an exam tomorrow. And, you know, and like, I don't know. I just think you got to always be really mindful of what was important to you before that you're now letting go of. Now, I do think that priorities can change. I.e., look at me. I have some education, needless to say, under my belt. So my idea of what I wanted changed. However, I'm very proud to say that I actually accomplished everything I set out to do. So that is important to me. If that is not important to you, okay, your life, like, you know what I mean? Yeah, I just think it's just so interesting. Anyway, making some nice connects on the board, so that's good. All right, let's see. Okay, I'm just peeking for some greens, and the dogs are going to be telling me it's time for SUPPER soon, so. But I'm just going to see if I can clean up the board a little bit so I can move over so you guys can actually see the whole puzzle instead of part of it. But nonetheless, what else? Well, just give me a second here. Let me think. I really should make these little scripts, but I don't know. I like just kind of chit-chatting and see where the wind takes me, if you will. So, if not for you, well, it's not for you, my dear, then. All right. I think I have all the green. It's funny, it turned out to be a really nice day outside. The reason I started a puzzle today was because, honestly, it was warm, but it was overcast, and I was like, well, I'd rather kind of do this today, but nonetheless, you know, make plans, someone laughs. Okay. But this is a really nice puzzle, so I am happy that I decided to do this today. And clearly this will have to carry over a few videos, because I am certainly not going to be done this today. Where did you go? I would like to eventually actually get the camera so that the angle is actually like above. I was talking to someone at Henry's and they had such good suggestions. So that was very, very helpful for me. But I haven't yet gotten there. I'm not sure if I've ever said, just so you guys know, I'm off work and not exactly sure when I'll be back in the workforce. So I'm going to, and winter's here. Wow. Winter's not here. I'm just being dramatic. No. To me, it is getting chillier. So I won't be going, oh, I see. I won't be going outside as much as, you know, the dead of summer. So you will see more puzzle videos, and by all means, make comments, kind or constructive at least. Please. It takes a lot to get the strength to make these, as you can probably imagine. And I really do like making these videos, but I just don't want to, you know, read comments and then end up crying because, you know, someone just had to say something, or, you know, it's just, oh yeah. If my stuff's not for you, okay, but I really like my stuff, and I personally think that my content has a particular place in society right now because everything, it seems, is talking about mental health, from commercials to movies to athletes to whomever. And, I have certainly earned, I think, the right to say my opinion on some topics. I made a career out of this. Plus, I have a lot of experience in different aspects that I think could be helpful for someone. So, let me get back into the school chit chat. I picked a blue color and I don't think I should have picked it, but nonetheless, carry on, wary soldier. Okay, so, yeah, I don't know what is with the blue that I picked, but I'm not liking it. As I get one piece in. Okay, let's see. You are going to be some on the border. And I actually must say, Eurograph puzzles, I find they're really good at having like borders all over the place in their puzzles. So I do think that it adds, it adds to the element it adds to the ease of doing puzzles, which is nice, especially like if you're a newer puzzler or something. So anyway, what else can I talk about? Okay. Okay, well, let me actually go back to the history major, just to break down some points, that, if there's another history major in the audience, well, you're in the right place. Different, cultures, I was trying to think how to say that properly. Different cultures really, I think it's really, really neat to learn about, sorry, I'm trying to multitask and see where this goes. I don't know where it goes. Oh, you're on the bottom. Okay. Oh, sorry. Basically what I mean is, I studied Egyptian culture, as well. It was one of my courses, and oh my gosh, it was so interesting. Like, the worshiping, the sun and the gods, and like what they built, and just like, wow. Okay, so nobody gets upset. What someone designed that, unfortunately people carried out against their own free will. But let's just move on, okay? Because I do want to acknowledge, like, I know that, anyway, I feel like I'm getting myself into trouble here anyway. But yeah, it's just really neat. The mentality, the mindset, like, just so different. So if you have the ability, when you're in school, to take Egyptian culture, I think you should. I don't think you would be disappointed. It really, I found it just so interesting. Like, what was done, before you were even a thought in the world. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just, that kind of stuff I think is really, really cool. So that's all I mean. But yeah, what other courses did I like? Oh my goodness. So I had a sociology professor. Woo, she, man, oh man, oh man, she was so good. Like, so good. And I knew I wanted to be a history major, but I really, really, really liked her style, and I always enjoyed her class. And I think I took a few of her classes. Professor Byers, a little shout out. Somehow, if this ever gets back to you, you certainly were an amazing professor. You were very supportive. You certainly opened up my eyes to a lot of things. And I really appreciate the chance to, I don't even know, I appreciate the chance just to have a voice, especially as, a female. When I was back in school, like the things that were said to me would never fly today from colleagues or other students, or sorry, not colleagues because we're all students, but other students. The stuff that they would say, like, that just flies. And it's like, in today's world, thank God that doesn't fly anymore. But a lot of like sexual remarks and stuff, that's just so inappropriate. Like, oh my gosh. And the thing was, unfortunately, like, because that noise was coming from everywhere, it was very hard to get away from. So you almost had to learn, even though you were a victim, you almost had to learn how to roll with it, which is wrong. It's just so wrong. So anyway. Sorry, I just got a stupid text message. Companies pushing out their cell phones. Got to text you every 2 minutes about them. Anyway, yeah, it just, her class, and it was a big class. It was the stadium seating class. So what do you have in there? Probably about 150 to 200 kids. It was McNally. It was a big class, and she handled it so well. And yeah, I always felt seen and heard in her class. And I think that is so important, especially when you're just starting off. So I don't know, maybe that's why I'm kind of making these style of videos, just to be like, hey, like, I get it. Listen, I can't speak what it is to be a man. I can only speak of my experience as a woman, but it is frustrating sometimes when the jokes turn sexual, isn't it? It's frustrating how, even though you have earned the right to be there, you are still going to be looked at as an object. Isn't that just such a piss off? Honestly, piss on those people that look at you like a thing for them to use. Piss on them. Oh, makes me so mad. So yeah, nuts to them. You have earned the right to be there, so you keep carrying forward with your studies. It is that important. It is. You have every right to be there, so never, ever, ever forget that. Please, I'm literally begging you to never forget that you earn the right to be there. It is that important. So, it's just knowing that so many people just try to challenge your existence. Oh my God, it just makes me so angry. Just enough. Like, when is enough going to be enough? Whoa, we've clearly gotten into some topics that are triggering for me, but it needs to be said. Like, when is enough going to be enough? Do you know what I mean? Anyway, I guess it's probably just reminding me of the bullying and stuff, like it, because it's all interconnected. Don't ever think that it's not, because it is. Okay. But yeah, so what else? Oh, okay. Well, here's something. I don't have experience in it because I always took out student loans. However, some food for thought. Are you someone who's fortunate to have, thought ahead and prepared for your education financially, or and listen, you are not alone if you haven't. Or are you someone that had to take out the student loans, and someday you are going to have to pay those back? Well, listen, if you do have student loans, you're not alone. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it is what it is. My opinion is certainly not going to change anything about student loans. You know, and I'm not trying to get into fights on here about it. I will say the one thing that because I knew that I had to pay the money back, I was very careful not to flit it away. And what I mean by that is I do think sometimes when you don't have to work for something as hard, I do think you run the risk of maybe not appreciating it as much as you would have if you actually had to pay all that back or, you know, work hard, you know, whatever. Now, that if you're getting riled up and you're like, that's not how I am, okay, I'm not talking about you, the individual. I'm just saying as a consensus, I do think that sometimes when you have to work for something, sometimes I think you appreciate it more. That's it. Now, I was someone who had, you know, a little bit of money saved up, I guess, a tiny bit not tiny bit, some from my parents, but yeah, the majority of my education was always on student loans. And that is something you should be mindful of, because at some point, those loans are gonna have to be paid back. You cannot not pay them back. Do you know what I mean? And although they are probably the better type of a loan to have, like the lower interest rates or no interest rates or however it goes, I forget. I've been paying them so long, it's just like, whatever now. But you will have to pay those back. So although things can seem very easy right now, and yeah, not a care in the world, my dear grasshopper, at some point you will have to step into reality that, oh, no, they actually want that money back. That money was not a gift. So that's all I mean. If you get it, you get it, cool. If you don't, like, yeah, whatever, it's not a big deal. I just think that it is really important to be mindful of what's going to happen after school. You know, you don't want to be caught off guard is all I mean. So I don't think those go there. It's funny, there's only two Oh, it's the feet. Okay, it's the feet. Okay. So I'm trying to figure out where some of these things go, but the coloring is so mute that it's hard to see, but it's okay. And there's two reds here, which are so identical. It's wild how identical they are. That's there. Not really liking the red either, guys. And there's no other red. Let me just check the board. And a few missing red pieces. I think I found them on the board, so bear with me. Okay. Okay, let me totally jump topics and talk about when I was in Toronto. That was, wow, that was an experience, and I think you guys will actually find a lot of that funny. So, with no further ado, so I graduated St. Mary's with a history major. And then I decided that I wanted to go into interior design. So I went to Toronto. And I lived originally when I moved there. So this is going to be a really weird thought to follow. Originally, when I moved there, I had no friends or family, but I did move in with a friend of the family. However, it became an environment that was not conducive for me, and so, or them really. So I had to leave. I forget, it was like a few months, like, gosh, probably like 8 months. Like, it was quite a while that I was there. Thought it would go one way. It didn't. You know, it is what it is. Like, you just, yeah. At some point, you know, is it worth the fight? Like, sometimes I think you just need to move on. So I left, and I didn't really have anywhere to go. So my friend, she was from an area outside Toronto, so she knew someone that was looking for a roommate, because obviously Toronto is very expensive. And so they agreed to take me in. I was only going to be in school for about another month. So I really didn't, need, you know, an apartment for that long. And because every time that I wasn't in school, I would just fly home and stay home, you know. And so, yeah, it was really interesting because the apartment that I moved into, well, it was a 1-bedroom apartment, and there was 3 of us living in there, myself and 2 guys. They were nice. One guy was quite nicer than the other. They were nice, but well, they one guy, so I went to a design school, and so everything I did for school was, you know, drawing or coloring or, you know, designing or, you know, all that kind of stuff. It was very, very, very different education than what I had been used to. And so I had this one project. Oh my gosh, it was not to date the best thing I've ever created, but it was absolutely stunning what I created. And to tell you about it, so that we were semestered, so it was a 2-year program, and we were semestered. So every 3 to 6 months, I think I was flying home. Again, I had no friends, no family in Toronto. So of course, like, you're off school, of course you want to go home. Oh, this red is proving to be a challenge. Oh, this red is giving me a headache. But yeah, and so I had left some stuff, a project. So the way the school went, the first thing you designed, I think, was like an apartment or like a bedroom. And then like your very last project was you designed an entire business. Like, I think it was like 6 floors or something like that. Anyway, and, you know, in between you would design a house, and you design a restaurant, you design this, design that, blah, blah, blah. And so we were supposed to design, oh, I hate this red, I can tell you that. We were supposed to design a business, 1 floor, and everything, it was all fictitious. So you had to not only design the business, but you had to create the company and come up with like their portfolio and what they, you know, what their mission statement was and like all that stuff. So at the time, I was dating guys who had motorcycles, and that was kind of the vibe of my life at that time. And so I made a motorcycle company, and you know, the motorcycle company Gixxer, like GSXR. So it was like that. And however, what the fictitious company that I made focused on was, and this was the so you had like all of your boards, you know, stretched out across the front of the room. And so the first board was really, really, really neat, because it was a black and white photo of 3 motorcycles, crotch rockets, if you will, but motorcycles, not the Harley Davidson style. And they, you know, they're speeding through the city, and so they're leaned way over, and you know, it was one front, one middle, one back. And it was so cool because the font that I got was like a graffiti style font, and it really fit with the brand of the company I had designed. And so the company, the fictitious company, but felt so real in the moment, they studied how to bring racing performance to the civilian bike in the street. And yes, that may sound dangerous, but again, guys, this was a fictitious company, and I thought it was so cool. I thought, I was in my mid-20s, I thought this was the cat's meow. I thought it was so cool. And across the top in red graffiti style font, I had bringing it from the tracks to the streets. And I thought it was so cool. Oh man, I fell in love with all of that. So I wanted to hang on to that project. So I did leave it at the apartment, and I was told, yes, we'll keep it here, because I was only going to be gone for the summer. And nonetheless, when I got back, it had all been destroyed. And that was very, very hard. And I couldn't understand how someone could do that. But, you know, perhaps sometimes we're not meant to understand why or how someone could do something, because, you know, I think it's a good thing that some of us do not have brains that work that way, because then there's less horror in the world. Because, oh my gosh, I was devastated when that project was ruined. Like, it's, you know, when you create something, that's why I think people like online so much, because when you create something, you're engaging different parts of your brain, and that is such a rewarding thing. So to have all of that just like stolen, like trash, like, oh, yay, just darn near killed me. So nonetheless, I do not speak to those people anymore. And, you know, it's, yeah. But to talk about my project, allow me the luxury to bring my project back to life via this discussion. Oh, I cannot figure out where this puzzle piece goes. So what was really funny about that project, I can't even remember the grade I received on it. I just remember how much I loved it. And I do remember I feel like this doesn't, no. Darn, I do not know where you go. Ooh, maybe there. No. Frustrating piece, leave me be. I do remember, there you go, I knew you'd go. Ooh, it's funny, red, ticking me off. So you had to present your project, same as if, like, to mimic as if you're presenting to a client, because the school, which was a college, was really, really, really always keeping you in the mindset that you're going to be working soon. You're going, like, you know, versus I find sometimes university, it's just kind of like, you know, and I can say this, I have experience in what I speak. You know, sometimes I find university can be like, oh, well, if you choose to, you know, make poor decisions, well, you're going to have to suffer. Whereas I find sometimes colleges, they're a little bit more on top of you, like, hey, your grades are really crappy. Like, what are you doing? Like, what's your plan? What are you thinking? So if you agree, cool. If you disagree, well, I mean, I guess that was my experience versus your experience, perhaps. Nonetheless, it must be his chin. Nonetheless, it I remember presenting after a few people who went, and of course, the companies they designed were very soft, and I think they were perhaps like, I don't know, like not administrative companies, but like they were, versus mine was a motorcycle company. So, and there was a lot of girls in my class. The women who were in my class, they could draw. Oh my goodness, they could draw. So, and they chose to use a color story of pastels. So everything was beautifully drawn and shaded and nice colors and blah, blah. Versus I can't draw. I can design. I'm very good. I'm very good at ergo. Oh, wow. That was a bad sentence. You can tell I'm getting tired. I'm very good at ergonomics. I like spatial layouts. To me, that something in there clicks with me. Nonetheless, you had such a difference between their style and my style, because like I had, for my color story, it was bright colors. It was, that like that just reference because my company was fictitious. But if you think of the Gixxer, like that yellow, that red, that green, that blue, like they're not the royal colors, the rich, but they're certainly not pastels. And then for my sample boards, I had all plastics. Like there was no fabric, because I did not agree that a motorcycle company should be focused on like the soft and pretty. I was like, no, this is about speed. This is about like, yes, like even a little bit sexy, like yes, like, because actually when I designed the floor plan for my office, from a bird's eye view, there was no corner office. It was the neatest thing ever. Even the corner offices, everything was pulled in so that from bird's eye view looking down, it actually looked like a racetrack. So no matter where you were in the building, you could always look out of the windows and you could kind of go in circles around the offices. The offices were like always kind of self-contained. However, I just thought like, yeah, motorcycle company, of course we're going to have like, oh, you can duck through this way and duck through, because like, I don't know, I think that motorcyclists, they live a little bit on that edge, because if you have nothing around you but air and you're deciding, to like speed up that bike, whoa, and so yeah, I just thought that my idea of having like no corner offices, like let's make this really hip and young and forget, what's been done in the past. Anyway, I lived and breathed for it. I thought it was the coolest thing. Oh my gosh, I thought it was cool. And so I presented after three or four of them. And I did not grade as well as I think I should have. And I think, unfortunately, that the teacher really allowed themselves to be wooed by the soft palettes and the luxurious cashmere and stuff, but didn't actually, I feel like that teacher personally did not understand the assignment, because the assignment was to design a space for a fictitious company that you made. So I did do that, you know what I mean? But nonetheless, I'm not angry about it. I'm angry that my project was thrown out like trash, because again, if you can't tell from the passion in my voice, I've been told I'm a very passionate person. If you can't tell from the passion in my voice, like I loved that project, and how dare anyone mess that up for me? Like, oh my gosh. So, that was a very interesting time. Now, you know what, this might be all about Toronto, who knows? And I still have some friends up there, so hey T-Dot. The camera's overheating, so I'm gonna have to take a break, which sucks so much, but Okay, let's stop it there. I gotta feed the dogs anyway. So, all right, thanks for listening, everyone. And just a little shout out to myself. I do have my YouTube channel, Puzzle with Me and My PTSD. I also have TikTok, which I haven't talked about in a while. Tick Puzzle Talk. And over there, I do obviously short little clips. Sometimes I do stuff with the dog. Sometimes I do just some fun dancing videos. Just stuff that makes me feel better. So anyway, thanks for listening. I really appreciate it. And if you can't watch these videos, but you want something to listen to, I also am on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts. Oh, wow, that's embarrassing. You can tell I haven't done those for a while. Oh, a puzzler's perspective. Gosh, sorry guys, it's been a while. It life, right? It is what it is. I'm getting tired though. So my camera's about to die because it's overheated. So I will say adieu and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.